Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Crime 101. This movie is directed by Brad Layton, and the movie stars Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, and Halle Berry. Now, the plot of this movie is simple. Chris Hemsworth plays a jewel thief named Mike, who's chased by a detective played by Mark Ruffalo. Now, when the trailer for this movie first came out, I thought this was going to be a smart, sleek thriller. I thought it was going to be like something along the lines of The Transporter, where Chris Hemsworth was this thief who had a code, who was very clean cut, he was very methodical, he had everything planned out to a T, and something was going to come along that was going to throw a wrench in his plans and how he did things, his system, so to speak. So I saw the cast, also comprised of Mark Ruffalo, which is also nice to see because he was just in that show Task in on HBO, and then Halle Berry. Hadn't seen her in a while, so I was really intrigued. And then I saw that Barry Keoghan was going to be in this movie, and I was like, all right, that'll be interesting. So I saw the movie, and I can honestly say that I enjoyed this film. Now, let me get this out of the way. Everyone's probably going to compare this film to the movie behind me, Heat, which is justifiable because this movie is like Heat, just a lot slower. Now, let me start with the acting in this movie. Starting off, Chris Hemsworth in this movie is a lot like the character from Drive, played by Ryan Gosling. Just like how I thought Drive was going to be more of an action movie, but it was a more slow, quiet type film. That's how Chris Hemsworth was in this movie. He's not very assertive like he is as the Thor character. He's actually very quiet, very to himself, almost timid. Mark Ruffalo as the detective, he's fine in this movie. This film did a good job of fleshing out these characters, kind of showing us what they're like when they're not on the job, so to speak. When Chris Hemsworth is not committing crimes, when Mark Ruffalo's not chasing the bad guy, when Halle Berry's not at her insurance office. They show you what these characters are like when they're not, you know, center focus, when they're not, in certain places where they need to be. And which it's a nice aspect of it, but I felt they kind of did that too much. Like I don't need to see all these characters outside of the, you know, characters that we came to see them as. Have the cop be the cop, the bad guy be the bad guy. And when you show them outside of that element too much, it's almost like they're trying to get us to care for them, which I don't feel this movie pulled off quite as well. Whereas in Heat, it showed the good guys occasionally, with their respective families outside the restaurant, or the bad guys, same kind of thing. It showed us glimpses of their lives outside of them on the job, what they're required to do, but just enough. Whereas here, they show us too much of these people outside of what we came to see, so to speak. Now, there are aspects where characters will meet other characters, like Chris Hemsworth meets co star Monica Barbaro, and they kind of have a date. But aside from just showing you how timid and shy and, not upfront that Chris Hemsworth is about his life and what he does for a living, those aspects of who they are beneath the mask, so to speak, they weren't as fleshed out as I wanted them to be. This movie also co-stars Barry Keoghan as this guy that rides a motorcycle, who's like somebody else that is brought in to do these other jobs. And then you have Nick Nolte as a guy that kind of pulls the strings, that sets the jobs up. And it's nice to see Nick Nolte again, but his voice is still the same, still cracky, still, very strained from all the cigarette smoking and stuff. But here in this movie, he's shaved, so it's nice to see that face again. Halle Berry is really good in this movie. Um, she's fine, and not just physically, but her acting skills make you miss her. And there's a certain scene where she tells her boss off that's like, you get her, girl. So she's a nice aspect in this movie. Mark Ruffalo, he's fine. I feel like he's fallen into the pit of playing like this kind of schlub that, like, even though he can be really good and very smart and very intelligent when he puts pieces together, kind of a guy that just, trudges along, does the daily grind, maybe not love it as much as he used to, but he's really good at it. That's why he continues to do it. So this movie fleshes out the characters. It's about 2.5 hours long. The music's good, and just like Heat, it's also set in Southern California, and it's a crime story. It's a movie that has good guys, bad guys, but occasionally kind of tempts you at blurring the line between the two. And it's a good story. All the characters are used multiple times, so you don't forget who is who, and it's enjoyable. And I recommend this. So because of that, I'm gonna give Crime 101 a B. It's very comparable to Heat, but not as good because that movie has more characters. It knows what to do for long periods of time, but also what to do for a little bit of time. And Crime 101 also mentions movies like Bullet and Thomas Crown Affair, which is also comparable to this film as well. So I would check this movie out. If you want a different kind of Chris Hemsworth movie, it's worth checking out. So until next time, guys, see ya.